Hi everyone, my name's Nick Wilson, aka Disabled Adventurer. This is RockClimber, and I'm with the two guys from Rock Engineering, Elliot and Andrew, who are the founders that created this monster. I wanted to introduce them to you, because all you've seen is my fat mug and this going up and down hills and mountains and doing all kinds of stuff. I think it's really important that you get to hear from and see the masterminds behind this. Hi guys, how you doing?
All right,
Good.
thanks.
Yeah? So tell the audience a bit about RockClimber. What was the problems, the challenges of actually creating this? Because I basically just came into you as a complete stranger in a wheelchair and went, yeah, can I have a chair with a motor and four wheels that's going to take me up Snowdon? Completely naively.
Yeah, yes, your expectations were a little bit optimistic at the time. I think the biggest challenge is obviously the physics of moving you up a very, very high mountain. And so it's all about maths for us. And you know, as an engineering company, that's what you need to focus on first, is defining what the problem is. You know, start at the beginning. What's the problem? How do we solve that problem? So, you know, we didn't look at it and say, right, we need to design a wheelchair. We just said we need to create a machine that fits within the essence of a wheelchair, but what does it need to look like?
Yeah, exactly that. And like Elliot was saying, it's all just maths. So you know roughly what the weight is going to be. So it constantly evolves, and it's an iterative process. But you know roughly what the mass is going to be, total mass. We recce'd Snowdon, so we know what the biggest step is. So then it's an equation to work out how much torque you need to get over that big step, and then working back from the motors. So the motors are a known quantity, they're an off-the-shelf product. So then you can work back through what gearbox ratios you need to be, what wheel sizes you need to be, and then you just drill into all of that, and then you end up with a product like this.
So this has elements of kind of very similar to electric vehicles, right? So why don't you tell the audience a bit about your experience, your background? Where has all this come from? Because a lot of it is in motorsport, right?
Yeah, I guess both of Andrew and I have been in motorsport for a long time. Me longer. Actually, my background's really vehicle dynamics, so it's always been about suspension and chassis. That's been my interest. I am not a designer. I don't do, well, I can run CAD, but as people will tell you, I'm pretty bad at it. But what I like, so my interest is the calculations, the concept development, and then the simulation of it after that. So I've worked for companies like Land Rover and BMW and Ricardo and lots of consulting companies, and then moved into Formula One in the very early 2000s and spent a long time there at various companies, Red Bull and Lotus Racing and the various iterations of that, and in Sauber. So, you know, that's always been my interest, performance, mainly around suspension and chassis design. So so this actually is a really interesting challenge, because it's so polar opposite, literally polar opposite to what you have to do to make a race car on the track fast. And it's harking back more to my days at Land Rover, you know. So I was heavily involved in Discovery 2, which shows you just how old I am.
What would you say to some of the comments which you've seen, and we've discussed several times about the various comments that have been put on the videos, and some we kind of look at and go, yeah, okay, you obviously don't understand the concept. But there are, like, one of the main ones that kind of keeps coming up is about how people can get into the chair. What would you kind of say to them, the reasons why we had to start off with this kind of chair opposed to something that's more upright and maybe more accessible for a lot of chair users?
They're all valid points. I mean, I think one of the things is that this looks nothing like any other power chair that's on the market. So people look at it and they maybe think, yeah, how is that applicable? That wouldn't work for my disability, for example. But the thing is that this has been very much designed for you to go up Snowdon. So we know what limitations you've got, but also what abilities you've got in terms of being able to, your mobility to be able to get into the chair. So we appreciate that this isn't necessarily going to suit the entire market. But the next stage of this is to make something which is more suitable to cater for more people. So we're looking at things like ease of getting in and out, electric steering, joystick steering, chain steering, all the different types of things that you get on a more typical power chair. We're going to adapt that, but have some of the off-road capabilities of RockClimber.
Which is amazing, was what it's all about, isn't it? It's, see, the way I see it, it's about equality. And so whilst we kind of say that this is a extreme power mobility chair aimed specifically initially at people with disabilities, there's no reason why an able-bodied person couldn't use it.
I think that's is something that we've discovered on the way, isn't it? Is that the people who've shown interest in RockClimber hasn't been limited to people with disabilities, and I think that's been a bit of an eye-opener. So yeah, there are some commercial potential benefits of some of the technology, but as you say, I think it's people look at it and they don't think, oh, it's a power mobility chair. They look at it and go, oh wow, what is it? A lot of people don't really realise what it is, and I think that's the thing. Everybody said, can we have a go? So I think the idea of sort of adventure power chair is something that's going to open up as a market opportunity and could be shared by, you know, people with and without disability. So yeah, it's interesting to see where it's going to go.
And that's the big thing, right? Is it's not just about this, isn't it? This is, like you say, this is the start of a long journey. And like you said, you're already looking at version 2, version 3, other iterations of it.
Yeah, I mean, to understand the market, you've got to produce something, really. You know, having a working prototype is far more useful than having a model that's on a computer screen, because you start to be able to interact with it. You start to see what the limitations are. You can ask people, what would you want to change about this? What would you like to see? And having that kind of information and background it just develops the next stage. So yeah, it doesn't stop here by any means.
I think it starts here, doesn't it? And I think from an engineering perspective, it's really attractive engineering, and so, you know, we're trying to look at problems in a very different way, and, you know, we've run the focus group that you were part of, and we learned a lot about what people need and want from their power chairs in the future. So, you know, part of our hope is that other businesses, other engineers will look at this and say, you know, actually there's a bit of an interesting market there. The engineering is interesting. It will attract young engineers who, you know, there's a lot of people, especially in this area, who want to go into motorsport because it is interesting and fun, but this is the same, you know. So actually you bring the brightest and best engineers into this market, the technology will move forward, you know, and if the technology starts to move forward and people have then improve their accessibility and they can go to work more easily, then they have more money in their pocket and they buy the more expensive machines that they want and be able to get out. And, you know, so it's this virtuous circle of actually you're creating a market. You know, everybody looks and says, this is fantastic, how much is it? And it's expensive, because we spent, you know, 2 years of the company time developing it. So we've put an awful lot of money into it, but it's only expensive because there are so few. And the problem then is if the market can't afford to buy it, you know, you need to bring the price down. So I think hopefully this can help kickstart that interest from everybody, investors, from engineers, from people in the disabled community, helping, you know, define what it is actually needed, and then people getting into employment and creating wealth and all the things that comes from that. So yeah.
And you say about how interesting and engineering, from an engineering perspective, that this is. And that's, we've got the Institution of Engineering and Technology on board. They're supporting us. Their film crew's coming up, Snowdon with us. And the terminology which they talk about, which we've started to, and to be honest, I've never heard of before, is inclusive design. What is inclusive design and engineering? Why is knowing that so important for the audience?
I think, well, inclusive design is kind of what it says. It's designing things from the outset which can include the biggest audiences possible. So, yeah, whether it's people with disabilities or any kind of economic, social background. And it's so much easier to design that from the onset than trying to retrofit things, because they're not necessarily designed to...
And cheaper, right?
Exactly, yeah. And it's a mindset. It's making sure every aspect of the design you're catering for as many people as possible. So having things like focus groups where people tell you, oh, actually it's really difficult to get in and out with this particular design. If it changed like this, then, and then all those ideas you can then build in from the onset. It doesn't cost the world to retrofit stuff. Like
it costs far less, doesn't it, to get it right at the beginning, and you're not going to solve every problem. The reality is one of the hardest challenges of engineering within this sector is that everybody's different, so different. Compare yourself with Isaac, and there are this huge differences, but the fundamental requirements are the same. Everybody wants freedom and access. So I think that's the interesting challenge. The IET have been a massive help with that, just to make us think about it, and B, to give us the project exposure, and not just them. Aston University have been also a big help. They helped with running the focus groups. They understand this sort of human-centered design process much better than us. We come from motorsport, and the focus is going faster, and it's selfish engineering, and this is very different in that sense. But from an engineering perspective, it is just as interesting. So yeah, we really appreciate both of their support.
What a lot of you might not be aware of is you actually fabricated over 90% of the parts for this in-house. So was it the motors that were bought?
Yeah, we bought the motors, just because that's not us. Tiny little things, levers, electrical switches. There's bushes and bearings, and little things off the shelf that wouldn't make any sense us making. The front dampers we bought, the rear dampers we made. So yeah, we know this machine inside out.
And because because you've had to fabricate it here in your factory in Toaster, it's not like we're buying a part that has been tested in certain specifications for a number of years, and this is making a new part that never existed, using it in a way that hasn't been used before, in an environment that we haven't used it in before.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, the techniques that have been used to manufacture everything are, so the manufacturing team that we've got here, they're incredible at what they do, super skilled. So everything is high grade aluminium or steel. Everything's TIG welded. It's bonded using the latest automotive chassis glues. So all of those aspects are really well known because of our kind of automotive and motorsport background. And yeah, the manufacturing guys, they've been doing that all their working life. So
we are going up Snowdon in a matter of days now. And actually I was talking to my carer the other day. I can't believe how quickly it's come around. It seems like only a few weeks ago I was like tearing my hair out because I wanted to start testing, and we weren't quite there yet, and suddenly we're about to go up Snowdon. Yeah. What are your concerns about Snowdon?
There's a lot of things to worry about. Obviously, there is the human element. There's you. We've done a lot of testing, but it's going to be a big day.
Yeah.
A big day. So how you fare, we think we've done as much as we can from seating preparation side of it, and some training, but that's always an unknown. The weather, Again, the physics are different from walking up some steps to trying to use a wheeled vehicle up steps. So traction is effective if it's very, very bad, which is why we've set ourselves a window of a few days to go up, so we can pick the best window. But there's just the reliability side of things. Again, it's a prototype. We've done a lot of testing. There's parts that we found that have, we've gone through various iterations of steering because you broke that twice. We've gone through various iterations of brakes because you broke those twice. So, but it's all good learning, and I think those are the easy bits. But there's some, if we lose a motor for whatever reason, that's going to be a challenge for us.
So what's next? What are you willing to share with the audience of what's happening next? Now, obviously, I know what's happening next.
After
but
Snowdon,
how much do you want to share to get them excited about the?
Yeah, I think there's going to be. Well, firstly, Snowdon is a challenge. There is a very real possibility that we don't make it all the way to the top this time for whatever reasons. But anyway, I think there will be a period of time after that we will be then trying to go out and show people the technology and sharing it with people. And again, the IET are helping us. We'll be going with you to a show. We're going to a number of planned engineering type of exhibitions and also disabled focused exhibitions over the next year. So really promoting RockClimber, but also, as you say, there's some new products that we've got in the pipeline that are really, really good. So I think what we're trying to do is create a brand from RockClimber, and then we want to be able to make it accessible to people with different budgets and different requirements. So something that's perhaps a bit more entry level, that's a little bit more portable, and perhaps be able to put it in the back of a much smaller vehicle, and then something in the middle which is perhaps a bit more of price-wise competitive with the current offerings, but performance-wise we hope much better. I don't know, do you want to say anything else?
Yeah, that's it from the product side, but obviously we're wanting to do some more challenges as well.
Oh yeah.
So
oh yeah,
I think it's going to be trying to kind of tame your expectations as much as anything.
Well, there's something over there, isn't there, that we probably don't want to show people just yet.
No, not quite yet. There is literally something in the corner over there, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that. Trust me, I have seen pictures of what is coming, and you'll want to follow us. Trust me. And the challenge is, I won't put my foot in it now, because I usually open my big mouth and then I can look at Elliot and his eyes will roll, or he'll I know that I've said something I shouldn't have said. But if you think Snowdon is big, which it is rightly big, because it's a prototype and all the things we've been talking about, but the challenge that I want to do next year, and the one that I want to do, we all want to do later on this year, but the one next year, that is massive. That will blow your mind if we can get sponsors. Little bit of been needing money on that one. We can't cover that one ourselves, can we? But it's absolutely worth following on that. On Snowdon, so we, like I said, IET, the Institution of Engineering Technology, their award-winning film crew is following us up during the day, and they are actually going to be sending snippets of videos and little chats with all of us at various points during the challenge back to their team, and they will then be uploading it onto socials, both on IET but also through my own. Is it going up on your website or is it on mine?
It won't be by me unless somebody does it.
Okay, so it'll be on my socials. I'm slowly getting there with them on socials. So it'll definitely be on Disabled Adventure socials. And I've actually just got someone who's going to be working, sharing it all and uploading it for me on the time, so that's great. We're not going to give you a specific day, solely because we don't know. It depends on whether we've got a specific period of multiple days where we can try and get it done, which is the only reason why we've not gone, we're doing it on the 1st of June or whatever it's going to be. So that's why we've been a bit shady. It's a bit coy with the specific dates because there isn't a specific date really. But we are going to be putting the videos out. Hopefully they're going to be going out they'll be delayed by about an hour. So by the time they've filmed them, send them back, bit of edit and then uploaded, it's going to be about an hour. So that's as close as live you've got. Ben Kelly Visuals, who's filming this, he's coming up with us all. So he's going to be doing some behind the scenes stuff. And of me crying before and all the bits that you won't get IET film crew doing. So Ben Kelly Visuals is going to be involved in that bit. And yeah, it's go time.
Exciting now, isn't it?
Really, it's suddenly going to become very, very real.
Yeah, very quickly, yeah.
Very quickly, yeah. So as ever, from me, from us all, thank you ever so much for all your engagement on social media, whether it's liking, sharing, making comments. We actually do read every single comment, whether it's feedback, even if it's criticism, if it's actually put in the right way and you're not just swearing at us, we will listen to all feedback and we do engage with it as much as possible. So keep that going. What you can do for us is to share the content. So when you see the videos, share it, like it, make comments on it, because all that helps to get it out to more people, okay? So yeah, from us all, thanks ever so much, and keep on following our socials, all right? Take care.